1966, the bodies of two men were found on a hill near Niterói, Brazil. At first glance, it appeared to be an ordinary death case, but the details discovered at the scene turned this file into one of the most mysterious cases not only in Brazil, but in the world. Both men were wearing handmade lead masks over their faces. A note found beside them contained the following instructions: be at the designated place at 4:30 in the afternoon. At 6:30, swallow the capsules, put on the masks, and wait for the signal. The file that became known as the lead masks case remains unsolved to this day. No one knows for certain what happened that night. The dead men were Miguel José Viana and Manoel Pereira da Cruz. Both were electronics technicians. Their technical knowledge became one of the most striking details of the investigation. Electronic systems, invisible signals, and mystical experiments would repeatedly appear in the theories surrounding the case. The two men left their home and traveled toward Niterói. They are known to have made several purchases during the journey. According to witnesses, they bought a bottle of water and protective clothing resembling raincoats. Buying such clothing on a hot day was highly unusual. That detail later attracted the attention of the police. The two men were later found dead on a hill known as Morro do Vintém. Their bodies lay side by side. There was no clear sign of a struggle at the scene, no sign of beating, and no indication of a shooting. But the lead masks over their faces took the case in an entirely different direction. They were not masks that covered the whole face. They looked more like handmade pieces cut from sheets of lead, designed to cover the area around the eyes. There were no openings through which the men could see. For that reason, some researchers believed the masks may have been made to block an extremely powerful light. But what kind of light? Light emitted by an electronic device, a glow they expected to appear in the sky, or something the human eye was never meant to see. According to some commentators, the masks were not merely a form of physical protection. Perhaps the men believed the masks could protect them from the mental or spiritual effects of whatever they expected to witness. But that was only a theory. The true purpose of the masks was never explained. The other objects found at the scene were just as strange as the masks. There was an empty water bottle, 2 wet towels, and a short but deeply mysterious instruction note. The note first referred to a specific time. It then instructed the men to swallow capsules. Finally, it told them to put on the masks and wait for a signal. Those few lines lie at the very center of the entire case. If the note truly described something they had planned, the two men were not on that hill by accident. They had gone there for a specific purpose. They were preparing to do something. They were waiting to experience something, or waiting for something to appear. But what? A light? A message? An invisible presence? Or a dark force they believed they had summoned? The police investigation was carried out with the limited methods available at the time. But the greatest problem in the case was that the cause of death could not be determined with certainty. Sources disagree about how long the bodies remained on the hill. Delays in the forensic examination may also have reduced the value of the toxicological evidence. Some sources state that the toxicology tests were inadequate. Others report that the tests produced no result. But the essential fact remains unchanged. No one could establish exactly why the two men died. The first, and apparently most rational theory, concerns the capsules mentioned in the note. The instruction explicitly says, "Swallow the capsules." It is therefore possible that the men voluntarily took an unknown substance. If that theory is correct, They may have died from an incorrect dose. The substance may have been poisonous, or it may have caused an unexpected reaction in their bodies. But this theory also has serious gaps. No capsules were found at the scene. Their contents were never identified, and it was never conclusively proved that either man had taken a substance at all. Poisoning may sound plausible, but it is not a definitive explanation. According to the second theory, this was not simply a technical experiment, but a mystical ritual. In Brazil during the 1960s, spiritualism, mediumship, and attempts to communicate with the dead were widespread. Some circles believed contact with invisible beings was possible. They believed that entering a trance could alter consciousness. Some even believed electronic devices could receive messages from spiritual entities. The two electronics technicians may therefore have attempted an experiment that combined their technical knowledge with their mystical curiosity. Under this theory, the lead masks were designed to protect them from a powerful light they expected to appear. The wet towels may have been part of their physical preparation before the experiment. The capsules may have been intended to induce a trance, alter perception, or prepare the body for spiritual contact. And the signal mentioned in the note may have marked the moment when the expected contact would begin. But what were they trying to contact? A being they believed came from another world? The spirits of the dead? Or a force described in some beliefs as a jinn, a demon, or a dark entity? None of these questions has a definite answer. Yet the possibility that the men were not conducting an ordinary electronics experiment is one of the most disturbing aspects of the case. Perhaps they were waiting for a device they had built to generate a signal. Perhaps they believed it would capture a signal coming from somewhere else. But what if the signal really came? What if whatever they saw or felt drove them into a fear they could no longer control? Or what if the capsules caused them to see things that were not there, as if they were real? This explanation can connect every object found at the scene within a single story. But there is one crucial problem. None of it has ever been proved. The third theory suggests that the men may have been deceived or manipulated. Perhaps someone told them an important experiment would take place. Perhaps a person they trusted sent them to the hill. Perhaps the capsules they believed were safe actually contained a lethal substance. Could the person who gave them the instructions have known what the capsules would do? When they were told to wait for the signal, was someone actually waiting for them to die? The absence of any clear sign of attack or struggle makes this theory difficult to prove. Yet the possibility that the men followed the instructions without resistance makes the idea of manipulation even more disturbing. Because controlling people does not always require a weapon. Sometimes a powerful belief is enough. One of the most discussed interpretations of the case involves UFOs and paranormal events. A hill, two electronics technicians, lead masks, unknown capsules, wet towels, and a mysterious signal they were waiting for. When these details were combined, the case gradually became associated with UFO stories. Some believe the men were waiting for a powerful light to appear in the sky. Others believe they were attempting to contact extraterrestrial beings. But there is another possibility. Perhaps what they were waiting for was not going to come from the sky. Perhaps their equipment had been designed to communicate with invisible entities. Perhaps the capsules were used to alter their consciousness. And perhaps the masks were meant to protect them from whatever they expected to see. But can a lead mask truly protect a person from something they cannot see? Or were the masks simply symbols that made them feel safe? Some paranormal accounts claim that people see lights, hear voices, and sense invisible presences during certain rituals. Some religious interpretations connect such attempts at contact with jinn, demonic entities, or dark forces that deceive human beings. There is no evidence that anything like this occurred in the lead mask's case. But we do not know exactly what the two men believed. In their eyes, the experiment may have been completely real. They may have believed they were not alone on the hill. They may have expected the signal to come not from a device, but from an invisible presence. This is where the true power of the lead masks case lies. None of the earthly explanations proposed for the case answers every question, and the paranormal theories never rise to the level of evidence. All we have are disconnected pieces. 2 electronics technicians, an isolated hill, handmade lead masks, an empty water bottle, 2 wet towels, unknown capsules, and a mysterious note. At 6:30, swallow the capsules, put on the masks, and wait for the signal. But perhaps the reason this case has never been forgotten is the enormous void created by a single question. What were they truly waiting for that night? A powerful light? A secret message? Spiritual contact? An extraterrestrial being? Or a dark force no human being should ever encounter? Official records tell us that the 2 men were found dead on that hill, but they cannot tell us why they died. Did they swallow the capsules voluntarily? Were they manipulated by someone else? Did their experiments spiral out of control? Or did they truly encounter something we cannot explain? Perhaps the answer was hidden inside a chemical substance. Perhaps it was simply the result of a failed experiment. Perhaps the 2 men died while waiting for a signal that would never come. But what if the signal did come? What if whatever they saw that night, even if it did not kill them, became the final image they witnessed in the last moments of their lives? That is what has made the lead masks case endure. This is not only the story of 2 mysterious deaths, it is also the story of an unfinished experiment, the story of instructions that were never completed, the story of the human mind and its fascination with the unknown, and perhaps the story of a single question that may never be answered. What truly happened on that hill in Brazil that night? What did the 2 men see? What did they hear? And after putting on their masks, what signal did they begin to wait for? Despite all the years that have passed, the answers to these questions remain unknown. Perhaps some secrets remain in darkness not because they cannot be solved, but because they were never meant to be solved. What do you think happened on Morro do Vintém that night? Share your theory in the comments. And for more documented mysteries, subscribe to Cinepulse Global.